Here we are again. Let's just get right into it, eh? burned my wrist. So I wanted to get a wire today. I wanted to get a cable that I could plug in so that you had better audio, because I'm very much aware that the audio isn't great when you listen to it. You can't really hear the quiet bits very well, and it's a bit echoey. Also, traffic in the background and all sorts of stuff. So I tried to get the cable. Unfortunately, they're very hard to find these days, auxiliary cables. So if anyone's got any idea where to look, ooh, a pair of sunglasses and a necklace. I just thought to myself, there might be a chance that there's one in my man drawer. Further down I get, the chances get slimmer. This bottom one probably hasn't got something so small. There's some strange things in these drawers. Odd things in these drawers. Oh my god, look at that sound. Oh, it's still plugged in. When do you reckon the last time that was used? It's proper brand new. It's still got the plug for it and everything. Isn't it? Like, I swear to God, I had one like that I lost the plug for. And that's one of the reasons that the beard started growing, was because my razor ran out of battery and I couldn't find the fucking plug anymore. But now, ooh, should I shave it off? Leave your vote in the likes to dislikes, because I can't see the dislikes anyway. So we're stuck with just the likes. No. Bit of fun. It's all a bit of fun, isn't it, eh? Bit of fun. There's one I haven't played in a while. No, I did. I played it the other day. You gotta have fun with it sometimes, even if it sends you do well. Bit of fun, isn't it? Bit of fun. It's all a bit of fun. Alright, I'll give it one more playthrough then. I did say it was going to be a short one today, so one more time from the top. It's not going to sound good, I'm afraid, because I've got no cable and it's echoey and blah 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 blah. But you know, I do what I can with what I'm given. I'll find the cable. I'll get the cable. It's not today. Not today. Powerful piece. My mind goes all sorts of tricky places when I play that. We have a collection of hats in here again now. I'm going to have to take them back through, I think. I should definitely leave one in here to hold the juggling balls. You know? I should always do a juggle. Whoa, didn't even know what I was doing with that one. Oh, I'm phasing out. Honestly, my brain's all over the place today. Scatterbrain, I can't even concentrate on what's in front of me. Like completely unfocused, just staring through the balls, thinking about life. So if you want to learn to juggle, I've said this many times, start with one ball and just like, while you're watching a YouTube video or something, try to get yourself, like actually turn it into a challenge, Try to get it to where you can throw the ball and you don't have to move the catching hand at all. Or you're just moving it upwards, like to receive, You're not like having to find it, if that makes sense. Like throw it to where you mean to throw it to. And if you've got juggling balls, this is great because you've got three. So if you've got three next to you, as I just dropped it then, rather than lean down and pick that one up, I can just get a different one. And wait until I've dropped all three before I do anything about it. We're going to just sit and throw it back and forth, one to the other. And then I want you to start thinking about your apex, right? Once you've got it to the point where you can throw it more or less, it doesn't have to be perfect, but more or less to where you need to. Think about where your apex in. Try to get it in line with your eyes roughly, and make it sort of hover for a second. You know what I mean? Like when you put enough momentum into it that like when it reaches its terminal velocity, it's sort of got half a second in the air, hasn't it? As it's figuring out that it should be coming down now, you know? That moment in the air, rather than like an arc like that where it's got no time in the air. Try and make it so that it's like, do you know what I mean? A bit more spiky, a little bit more of a spiky. Okay, and then step 3 from there, if you got to that point, you want to start, you might want to stand up for this, sadly, but your hands are like this, right? And you want to start swinging your throw up through the middle of your body. So it's throwing up like that. Rather than this is what you've been doing up till now, you know, throwing it to about there and doing that. But now we're swinging it in. And now you can start to see where this is going, right? But genuinely spend time doing this. Most people, they'll watch me do that and they'll be like, yeah. But what's step 2 though? Well, step 2 is you get 2 balls, right? Looks like I'm bouncing them off each other. I'm not. I'm swapping hands. Yeah, you can't do it from a distance. Do it with this one so that you can see. I'm swapping hands. And they're coming so close together that they're actually making contact on the way past. We're just sort of getting used to, I don't know, it throws out the front of your hand and it catches in the back of your hand. So it's kind of, it's getting used to a lot of things. It's a full-on trick, right? If you could do that with another ball in the air, like if you were juggling and you threw one up and then you switched the hands with the other 2, like it's an impressive trick to pull off, but visually it's not very effective because it doesn't look like you've done anything. And then I'm dropping it because I can't catch them and get a throw in that time. But anyway, going back, we've warmed up a little bit by getting used to 2 balls and just like switching them about, slapping them. You're slapping it into the back of the hand. You're catching that one in the front of your hand, that one in the back of your hand. You can switch it around if you're that good. It's the same as like jumping on a BMX or a skateboard or whatever. You'll find a way around. And I suppose it's to do with like, I'm right-handed, so my right hand is always going to be dominant. If you're left-handed, you might do it in reverse, but it doesn't make a difference. I'm out of breath. I'm not good at this. Sorry, I keep picking up the third one because I want to. So you got your 2 balls, you've warmed up, and do you remember before what we were doing was this? This was the end result, right? Was this, okay? So now what we're going to do is we're going to bring the second ball in, and we're going to start actually with both of them in one hand, in the same hand, right? I don't know if this is the best way to start. Should we start with one in each hand first? Is that going to be easier for you? Okay, we're going to end up doing both. So if you struggle with this one, go to like skip forward to when we start with them both in one hand, and then come back and do this after, because you've got to do both. So we'll start with one in each hand, just because maybe it's more comfortable as you're beginning. And remember, the idea is we're swinging one up the middle. It's going to come up and reach the apex. And when it reaches that apex and it starts to come down, we're going to throw the second one. Okay? So it should look something like this. Okay? Now I'm leading with my right hand, as I said before. But I don't want to do that. I want to lead with both hands. Okay? So if you throw it first with your right hand, then the second time you want to start with your left hand. So my balls are different, and what you'll see is this ball is always going to lead. All right? If I start with this ball in my right hand, and you watch, this ball will always be the leading hand. So if you get stuck and you've got different colored balls, you can look at them and be like, this one's leading, therefore this one goes first. So whichever hand it's in. So another thing, because they're swinging up the middle, it always goes, the second ball will always go underneath the first ball. So you're swinging your arm underneath it and then coming back to catch it, kind of thing. So just do this for a while, you know. And then I skipped ahead a moment ago because I couldn't help myself. The end result, you should be going like this. Okay, so it's like a constant. That's what's going to end up happening. Obviously, you start off, like I said, just like this. Always the same ball leading. So it'll go right hand lead, and then left hand lead, and then right hand lead, and then left hand lead. But remember, you're always throwing that second ball at the apex of the first ball. The first ball just starts to come down, and that's when the second ball throws. But then the second ball starts to come down, and you've got a ball in your hand, so throw it, right? It doesn't matter that you keep up the pattern or not at this stage, because if you've got to that stage, you're going to be doing tricks and stuff anyway. So you need to be able to throw it in all kinds of different ways, over, under. But just learning the standard technique is just going to help you get to that stage. Okay, so that's that bit done. Now we're starting with two balls in one hand. And we're going to do the exact same thing. We're throwing one up. And as it starts to come down, we're throwing the second one. 1, 2. Catching them both in the same hand. Doesn't matter which one leads, because they're both coming out of the same hand. All right? Now this for me is a lot easier, because it's all about just being able to hold two balls in one hand. You've just learned how to throw it from one hand without moving. So they both land in the same place. Do you know what I mean? So that's why I wanted to start off with this one. To me, this just seems a lot easier than what you're doing here. This is quite technical. But for some reason, beginners, I don't know, you want to do certain things, don't you, when you start off? This feels more comfortable to hold than this. Oop. Can't even catch just a straight throw than this, right? So you sit there and you think, oh, whatever I'm doing here is complicated, because I'm throwing one and I'm holding one with one hand. It's not hard. You're just flicking it off the end of your fingers, and you get used to that, rolling this one forward into those fingers, you know? So if that's the trick that you're missing, you're rolling that one forward, you're catching that there. Look, I'm gripping it, and I'm just flicking this off these fingers like a paddle. You know, you can even hold them like that later on, and maybe do that kind of crazy nonsense if you're really good. Wow. I've never even thought about that, but it's there. The option's there. You could definitely roll two into grip mode and one into throw mode if you practiced it. Anyway, I'm all over the place. We're doing two. And we're throwing one up to the apex. As it reaches the apex, we're throwing the second one. Okay. Now, you can start off like this, but this is just step one over again, right? So if you're at that stage, then by all means, I just do this. You know? It's one of those half steps that you can skip, right? Surely. And of course, the end result is the same. This one's reaching the apex and you're throwing this one, right? But then this one apexes and it's falling and you've got a ball in your hand. So why not throw it? And you notice in there, I'm always throwing the lead slightly lower and the other one's following higher. And that's just the way I do it. It doesn't matter. Again, you're going to fall into your rhythm when you get the three balls. It's not going to matter. Just as long as they both leave your hand and they both go up and they both come down. and they're both obviously setting off from one hand and landing in the other hand. That's the goal. So you notice again, now that I've got, like before when I was catching them both, they'd land different, so a different ball would lead. But once you get going in a rhythm, again, it's always the same ball leading and the same ball following. And it looks exactly the same as it did when I started with 2 and I got to that stage, because it is the same. Because, hey presto, without even knowing it, you've just learned to juggle. That's right, pick up your third ball. I'm not even joking. Just pick up your third ball, and we always start whichever hand's got 2 balls in it. So just like you did a minute ago, throw one to the apex, and then just keep throwing. Just keep throwing. That's it. You learn to juggle without even knowing you could juggle. And you never picked up 3 balls until you actually could juggle. And I think that's the secret, really. People think that you need 3 balls, but you don't. You don't even need 2 balls. You need 1 to start off with. If you can throw a ball and catch it where you mean to catch it, rather than having to scramble for it or whatever. You know what I mean? Throwing it wildly over here and then having to lean over and catch it. Like, I don't know. It feels like I can't even do it by accident now, but you do when you're juggling, right? They go all over the place. So you need to be able to recover as well. And that's what a trick is. A trick is, in any of these circus skills, a trick is just the recovery. It's just learning how to continue a routine when it's gone a little bit awry, you know? And then you do them on purpose. Okay, it's hard to explain this, but it's kind of like when you start to learn to drive, or maybe it's like when you start to learn to ride a bike. When you start to learn to ride a bike, you fall off in the weirdest ways. And when you can ride a bike, it's hard to fall off like that. Like when I was starting to drive, my driving instructor told me that he'd struggle to stall the car in the ways that I was stalling it, you know? And it's one of those things where when you know how to do it, it's actually like what I was doing was absolutely balmy. And it's sort of the same thing, like throwing these tricks in. That's how they all began, is somebody saying, well, what happens if this goes wrong? It's how I learned my nunchuck tricks, right? I was spinning my nunchucks, and every now and then I'd land on the chain, and the chain would be there. It's sort of a limp, if you get me. The chain would go over like that, and it's a limp. I can't grab this stick, I can't grab that stick, sort of thing. You know, that kind of thing had happened. And so I had to learn a trick to get out of it, and I learned what I called the butterfly, which turned out to actually be called infinity waves, which blew up on the internet a little bit. It was kind of my first viral tutorial. It got me invited to some kind of nunchuck tournament competition thing. I didn't go. I got invited to do a seminar about nunchucks in the local area by Phoenix Eye, who I studied under. I did a few belts in freestyle kickboxing at Phoenix Eye. Is that right? Phoenix Eye? Yeah, it's Phoenix something. I think it's Phoenix Eye. Yeah, I did a few belts. I loved it there. Went to a couple of competitions. Grew up. The guy who taught me is no longer there, unfortunately. But one of the guys that was there, you know, studying alongside me, is now running the place. Or I don't know if he still is, but he was at the time. And he saw my videos and stuff, and he invited me in to give a demonstration, which was pretty fun. Interesting, trying to do circus skills with real traditional nunchucks. And they had big foam dummies, so you could do like the spins and then actually try and hit someone with it, which was, you know, a one-off experience. You're not going to get that kind of experience in most places. Like I'm never going to be able to buy a foam dummy, am I? So I can make one. I can make cardboard dummies and stuff. People say the weirdest stuff online when you get your nunchucks out and you hit an object. Like, oh, the object can't hit back. As if this guy on the internet's volunteering to be my target. All right, well, step up then. You weirdo. As if I'm going to post a video on the internet of me just bludgeoning someone. First, you got to find someone who deserves it. Hopefully, that takes a while, you know. And then, as if you'd film it, you'd have to be out your gourd. All right, here we go then. The ultimate finisher. Can I do the flash into the hat? We all know the answer is no, because the roof's too low and I'm not fast enough. But I'm going for it anyway. I'm going to try flash them to this spot here. So if I bow my head, my hat should drop and they should all land in it. Right, okay, here we go. I've explained how the trick's going to work, so when it looks crap, you can't tell me it was a fluke. It's not going to work. All right, drum roll. And here comes the flash. Flash! I don't even know where that one went. There it is. Oh, look at that! Hey! Quick, edit. We'll put that there. So yeah, that was fun. We had some fun. Actually, I had more fun doing the juggling with you than the piano today because my wrist, man, my whole arm to be fair, but my wrist. So next time, if you've got a different toy that you want to see, why not drop me a message on your keyboard? Like get on your keyboard, and you've only got, I think you've got more letters than me. I'm joking, I'm messing about. Yeah, if you want to see like juggling, then I can do juggling. If you want to see that mystical ball thing, or I own these things, I don't even know what they're called. The weird stick thing, you know, I could do that too. I could even make some poi. I've got socks. I've got a bag full of socks. I don't own any poi right now, but I could make some. I tried to buy some poi, and my neighbour's mate stole them because he thought it was an iPhone, because apparently the box looked like an iPhone. And I should have banged him out there and then, but you know, you live and you learn. Take care, guys. Peace. Bye-bye. I love you. Why did I press not yet?